Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuck School on this Character Building New England afternoon. For those who might be so inclined, we do have a live video feed of this ceremony in a couple of our classrooms, Stoneman and Rosenwald. There'll be a couple of MBA program office colleagues over here, I think Dia Draper and others. If anyone's so inclined to, at least for the time being, be indoors, please feel free to make your way over there. It is an honor and a privilege to welcome you to the Investiture ceremony for the 116th graduating class of the Tuck School. Welcome to Dartmouth President Phil Hanlon. Welcome to the Dartmouth trustees who are with us today, Sherry Oberg and Greg Maffei. To the Tuck Overseer with us here today, Rennie Smith. And to the former chair of the Tuck Board of Overseers, Bill Ockmeyer. Welcome to my many faculty colleagues. So much of the quality of the MBA education here at Tuck springs from the faculty. From their rigorous and relevant research at the frontiers of knowledge, which can teach our students confident humility about what they know and what they don't know, and from their practical experience with, and indeed as leaders of, business and broader society, which ensures that our students learn what matters most in today's diverse and dynamic world. Among the faculty here with us, I want to extend a special welcome and congratulations to our winners of this year's Teaching Excellence Award, Emily Blanchard and Anant Sundaram. The purpose of this award is to celebrate Tuck's learning environment by honoring two faculty who, in the eyes of the graduating class, have made an outstanding contribution to students' advancement. Congratulations and thank you to Emily and Anna. And finally, and most of all, welcome to our graduating class and to all their friends and family who have joined us from literally around the world for this celebration. The class of 2016, here we are. About 2 years ago, you walked up these very steps with your talents, your dreams, your boxes of stuff, ready for an adventure that then appeared quite endless. And yet, time has flown, and your Tuck studies have drawn to a close. You have succeeded in navigating the Tuck curriculum, and you sit here today primed to meet Tuck's mission of bettering the world of business. In the future that lies before you, let me briefly commend you graduates to rely on three things. First, rely on your dreams. Your dreams brought you here. Your dreams helped you earn your MBA degree. Now stay true to those dreams to use your Tuck education to better the world of business in the decades now in front of you. Second, please rely on each other. As talented as my faculty and staff colleagues are, you, the class of 2016, have learned at least as much from each other as you have from us. Remember that your classmates can be a continual source of ideas, inspiration, and collaboration. And third, please rely on all of us here at and of the Tuck School. You are forevermore a part of Tuck's tightly supportive community, now as one of our nearly 10,000 alumni thriving around the world. Our Tuck community will always be at your side. So, in all of your future endeavors, please stay well, and please do stay in touch. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you our investiture speaker, Daniel Yergin. Dan was recently described by Fortune magazine as, quote, one of the planet's foremost thinkers about energy and its implications. Vice chairman of IHS, a leading economic and energy research firm, and founder of IHS Cambridge Energy Research Associates, Dan is one of the world's keenest minds in analyzing how the world's production and use of energy shapes business, government, and quite literally our civilization. A prolific and award-winning author, Dan's writings include The Prize, The Epic Quest for Oil, Money, and Power, which was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for nonfiction, and The Commanding Heights, The Battle for the World Economy, which depicts the interplay between governments and markets. Translated into multiple languages, both The Prize and The Commanding Heights were also made into award-winning television documentaries for PBS and for the BBC, which Dan co-produced, co-wrote, and narrated. Among his many appointments, Dan serves as a director of the Council on Foreign Relations and as a trustee of the Brookings Institution. His honors include a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Government of India and, as of tomorrow, an honorary degree from Dartmouth College. Dan received a bachelor's degree from Yale University and a doctorate from Cambridge University, where he was a Marshall Scholar. And beyond all these professional accolades, let me just add that Dan is one of the kindest, most generous individuals you will ever meet. Please join me in welcoming Dan Yergin.
The deal I just made, if I need the umbrella, she'll come back. Thank you, Matt, for your very nice words. Dean Slaughter, President Hanlon, faculty, alumni, and most importantly, and friends and families that are here, most importantly, students. It's really an honor for me to speak to the graduating class of 2016 of the Tuck School of Business, to congratulate you on what you've achieved, to recognize what you will accomplish in the years to come, and to look forward to really the significant mark that you will make in the world. And certainly this is an opportunity to congratulate the outstanding faculty that has delivered this unique education, and to salute the families and friends out there with the umbrellas who have gathered here and have done so much to support you graduating students. Families and friends, your commitment has been invaluable, and you should take great pride in what this graduation represents. So let me turn to you graduates. You've done it. You've made it through a very demanding, stimulating, and engaging education. Yes, somehow you have survived Fall B. You have also survived tripod hockey. You supported your classmates with Tuck Gives, and you've learned around the world with Tuck Go. Now it's time for you to go forth from here, wherever you are headed, and to give with what you've gained here. You graduate with a distinctive Tuck education values, one that gives you deep training and knowledge that is rigorous and relevant, a strong sense of community, and a commitment to collaboration and to learning how to work across cultures and borders. Indeed, it's very striking that more than one-third of you actually come from countries other than the United States. So all this in your Tuck education does so much to prepare you for a globalized world. But here's the problem. Here's the rub. Globalization is now under attack. A war is being waged against international commerce and trade. The market economy that generates the well-being of nations is now a source of deep and corrosive distrust. And business, the reason many of you actually chose to go to business school, is vilified as an evil endeavor, with one exception, unless it's a startup. That's the great exception. And here, please allow me one small digression. There is a longer tradition of Dartmouth startups than you may know. For Dartmouth is responsible for one of the great startups of all times, the world oil industry. It was a Dartmouth graduate, George Bissell, who in the 1850s spied what he called rock oil in a professor's lab here at Dartmouth and had the blinding insight that it could be turned into something of commercial value, oil. Although the term venture capitalist wasn't exactly in vogue in the 1850s, Bissell was the determined, hard-nosed venture capitalist who got the money together to finance a certain retired railroad conductor who became known as Colonel Drake. Like so many startups, there were several near-death experiences for this venture, but at the end it succeeded with the first oil well in 1859. I actually don't know, despite historical research, what Bissell made on his investment, but judging by the house he later built, I would guess that it was at least a 10x. And by the way, he started a new industry that did much to create our modern world. I was delighted when Dean Slaughter invited me to speak at your graduation. I've known Matt for many years, going back to when he was on the President's Council of Economic Advisors. I've benefited from our discussions about the U.S. and global economies and have much respect for him and, of course, great respect for this institution and its contribution over more than a century. Moreover, I'm very happy to note the developing relationship between Tuck and its energy initiatives and my own firm, IHS. Every year, we hold our big CERAWeek conference in Houston, which some call the Davos of world energy. This year, we were pleased to have as a keynote a Dartmouth graduate and trustee, Jeff Immelt. And we were very glad to have two of your classmates who are graduating from Tuck join us this year with us in Houston, Brandon Smith and Brant Swidler. And we're glad that you're here today. Let's hear it for them. Okay. For our part, we look forward to strengthening this relationship. But I was keen to do this speech for another reason, for this would provide a unique opportunity to address what seems to me a crucial and very worrying question about the nature of the global economy about which you are to join. When I started my company with one other person several years ago, our first capital investment was a $7 for used file cabinet from Goodwill Industries. It seemed to me at that time, if you were going to start a business, you needed a file cabinet. To those of you who are going to do startups today, I have a piece of wisdom to share. I don't think you need file cabinets anymore. Now, with the upcoming merger of IHS with another company, Market, I will be part of a 14,000-person company. But I've been fortunate because while working at IHS, I've also been able at the same time write books and explore subjects of great interest to me. As Matt has already said, energy writ large, geopolitics, global economics. As I prepared for this day, I found myself thinking about one of those books that Matt mentioned, Commanding Heights, The Battle for the World Economy. Sometimes I think, at least my experience, you don't really know what a book is about until you write the conclusion, and then you go back and write the introduction and say what it's about. And the idea that came together when I was struggling with the conclusion to the Commanding Heights was the concept of what I called the balance of confidence, that balance of confidence that is so important to market economies. In international relations, of course, you hear about the balance of power. As I see it, this balance of confidence reflects the respective weighting in people's minds between the role of governments and markets in the economy. And confidence is the essential foundation of a market economy. When that confidence isn't there, markets don't work. So Commanding Heights, what is that? It's a phrase pioneered by Vladimir Lenin after the Bolshevik Revolution about seizing the commanding heights of the economy, the main industries. It was a term borrowed and implemented by governments from London to New Delhi to Mexico cities. In Europe, the commanding heights took the form of what was called the mixed economy, big nationalized industries surrounded by smaller private companies. And in the United States, the commanding heights was represented through extensive economic regulations. Now, I took this term, Commanding Heights, in a somewhat ironic way as a book title, for it was a question that really arose to me from traveling around the world. And it was, why did we move from an era through much of the 20th century in which governments sought to seize and control the commanding heights of the economy to an era in the latter part of the 20th century, in the beginning of the 21st century, when these ideas of competition, open trade, deregulation, and privatization captured what you could say is the commanding heights of world economic thinking. The shift, of course, was facilitated by very dramatic changes in technologies. And the market expanded, and the frontier between markets and state moved in a way that expanded the realm of the market. This was true in the remarkable transformation of China, hundreds of millions of people lifted out of poverty, its integration with the world economy in a way that was unimaginable a few decades earlier. The shift occurred in Europe with the privatization of big state-owned companies, and it began in the United States too. Some people would say, oh, it began in the Reagan years. It didn't. It actually began under Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter, where one of the pioneers of deregulation was an influential young lawyer, now Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. By the time of the Clinton presidency, Bill, not Hillary, it was well advanced. In 1997, less than 2 decades ago, the Council of Economic Advisors under Bill Clinton issued its annual report on the theme of the advantages of markets. You wouldn't hear that today. The balance of confidence shifted towards markets because it's becoming clear that over-reliance on governments to run economies tended to run into a wall. The response was towards greater reliance on markets rather than state control. I once asked the great statesman Lee Kuan Yew, the founder of modern Singapore, why it was that the world moved towards greater confidence in markets. He answered with his customary simplicity. Communism collapsed, he said, and the mixed economy failed. What else is there? This shift towards the market helped initiate the modern age of globalization that we all experience that is tying the world together so tightly. Now, a decade and a half ago, I had the opportunity to turn the Commanding Heights into, as Matt said, a 6-hour PBS-BBC television series. Having the power that came from having appointed myself executive producer, I asked myself who would be the best person to speak on the great contribution of globalization, and the answer was Bill Clinton. He agreed, and he did a great job of describing its benefits. You can watch Bill Clinton on YouTube. Not by coincidence, I have to say. It went up last night. My name plus YouTube channel helps find it better. Part 3, rules of the game. But I don't want to see anybody start looking for it now on your smartphones. That was 2002. But it's not 2002, it's 2016. I ask you, which of the presidential candidates this year would speak positively about international trade and the value of being part of the global economy? The apparent answer, not one, at least for now. And yet your education has emphasized working in the global economy, and with good reason. Trade and investment, the flow of information and ideas have driven economic growth, raised incomes, provided people with more opportunities and better lives, and provided governments, by the by, with more revenues. You would not know it from today's political debates, but at least 20% of the U.S. economy today is foreign trade. To put it into human terms, that's almost 40 million jobs. But what we hear instead is that the economy is rigged, whatever that means, that Wall Street, i.e. the financial system, is evil, and that businesses of all kinds should be broken up, even though people don't know how they should be broken up. But Wall Street is not just a section of Manhattan. It's not just a collection of financial institutions. It's the ability of people to get mortgages and buy homes. It's the retirements of everyone sitting here, the pensions of Americans and many people around the world that are invested in U.S. and foreign equities. So why this shift in the balance of confidence? So let me try out 4 reasons on you. Reason number 1 is obvious: the financial collapse of 2008 and the worst recession since the Great Depression, the loss of jobs, the loss of homes, the despair of unemployment, the pain across the landscape. You know, people are still arguing about the causes of the Great Depression of the 1930s, and I think that we can be sure that when you come back for your 25th Tuck reunion, 25 years from now, and it's not that far away, people will still be arguing about what was the cause of the Great Recession of 2008. There are a whole host of reasons, from marketplace, human behavior, government regulation, or all of the above, or some of the above. Well, you can make your choices, or I think you can wait for the faculty panel discussion on that topic at your 25th reunion in 2041. In any event, the consequence has been this drastic shift in the balance of confidence, a dramatic loss of confidence in markets and the decision makers in markets, in other words, businessmen and businesswomen. The second reason for the shift in the balance of confidence is a much greater focus on inequality. Yet, and I know this will be much debated, it is striking to note the inequality on the debate on inequality. Many studies of inequality leave out the critical factor of transfer payments by governments and income. A recent study from Brookings notes in the roaring 1920s, Americans received almost nothing in the form of government transfers. By 1970s, it was 8%. Last year, it was 17%. So the inequality debate is very important, but it is more complicated than we sometimes hear. The third reason for the shift in the balance of confidence, I think, is international trade and the reality of globalization. Trade promotes economic growth and creates jobs, but it also leads to jobs lost, factories closed, production shift overseas, and a more general heightened sense of vulnerability to the global economy. The great benefits of trade are spread across the nation, while the pains are felt in local communities and by people who have lost what they counted on as secure jobs and feel marooned. Addressing the needs of those displaced by trade and supporting them during a transition is a vital ingredient of policy and to rebalancing confidence. But the answer is not to put up barriers to world trade, which has done so much to improve people's lives. Moreover, and I'm sure this is something a lot of you looked at in your courses, it is to be noted that a good deal of the job loss that is instinctively blamed on globalization is really the result of technology and technological advance, and dealing with the impacts unemployment of technological advance will certainly also be a challenge of public policy in the years ahead. I think the final reason for the shift in the balance of confidence is memory. I believe the average age of all you out there is 30, which means that you were about 3 years old when the Berlin Wall came down. I'm pretty sure that when you were 3, you were not spending that much time watching the communist experiment collapse or the crumbling of the falling stones of the Berlin Wall. There was no memory of what it meant when the mission of governments was to control the commanding heights. Closer to home, there's no memory, for instance, of when a now defunct federal agency called the Civil Aeronautics Board in the United States not only set the price for what an airline ticket was, but also regulated the size of the sandwiches that could be served on an airplane. But millennials do know what has happened in 2008, and for many that serves as an indictment of the market system. A recent poll found that 51% of American millennials do not support capitalism. I suspect that that result might be different if that survey were taken among the graduating class at Tuck Business School. At least I think so. Hope so. So you're graduating into a world in which the balance of confidence has shifted away from business and the market economy toward government decision-making. In the United States, the power of the commanding heights is wielded through regulation, and it adds up and up and up. Obviously, regulation and rules are necessary for a market economy. As a Russian economic reformer once said to me, without those rules and regulations, you don't have a market, you have a bazaar. So we need appropriate regulation of all kinds. But I think the question that you will encounter in your careers is what is the right amount, the right balance of regulation? What is the quality of the regulation? What meets the needs of public interest and what stifles initiative, drains times, and creates burdensome costs and hinders growth? Think of regulation as an industry, and like all industries, it seeks growth, and its product is more regulation. It means more time spent on what might be called regulatory address, dealing with regulation, and activities that are both productive and unproductive. After 2008, everyone would recognize the system of financial regulation needed to be fixed to remedy the weaknesses that had contributed to the collapse, for sure. But what about the results? Some metrics. The Dodd-Frank financial regulation bill weighed in at 2,300 pages. Should it have been 2,600 pages, or would 1,800 pages have been enough? It's also accompanied by another 26,000 pages of rules. That's a lot of pages and a lot of rules. One result is America's new great growth industry, compliance in the financial sector. We all know about the gig economy, that people don't hold jobs for very long, but it is said that if you want lifetime employment these days, go into compliance. Does all this matter? Yes, because if not wisely instituted with restraint and foresight, regulation recaptures more and more of the commanding heights. It becomes a drag on economic growth and job creation, and it will directly affect all of you. It will impede your ability to help your firms prosper, to constructively apply what you've learned here, and contribute by what you do to a larger good. I suspect for some of you, as the rain comes down, the pangs of nostalgia are already setting in with the raindrops. But look at what's ahead. Rich and varied opportunities await you, and your Tuck education has prepared you to address the complexities that you will encounter. Now it's up to you to apply that education. You are leaving Tuck, but as Matt has already said, you're not actually exactly leaving Tuck. You will have continuing access to a great Tuck resource, the almost 10,000 Tuck graduates around the world who will open doors to you and lend you words of advice or lend you a helping hand. But it's not only the skills and knowledge that you take from here. You were admitted because of your leadership capabilities, and you need to remember that. And you have honed and developed those capabilities here. So that is a trust that you carry from here. Now you need to exert your leadership in whatever vocation you choose. In so doing, you will be addressing the larger questions of the commanding heights, the benefits that come from a flexible, growing market economy in terms of people's lives. But what you do, how you do engage, you can be a bridge, you can help promote dialogue, you can offset the hostility and distrust, you can contribute to better outcomes. So I think if you think about it, your Tuck education provides you not with one, but with two opportunities. The first is to find your way to meaningful, satisfying careers of leadership and accomplishment. The second opportunity is created by what you accomplish, by your impact and by your engagement, by what you demonstrate in your own careers and lives to help rebuild the trust and reset the balance of confidence on which a growing global world depends. So I urge you, take both those opportunities. The world awaits you, and the world needs you. Congratulations.
So Dan, thank you for sharing your insights and your ideas with us as part of our celebration, and please accept this gift to commemorate you joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Our program now turns to the conferring of the hoods on our MBA candidates. Our Associate Dean for the MBA program, Praveen Kopale, will read the names of the candidates, and the Chairman of our Board of Overseers, Chris Williams, will place the hoods on those candidates.
At this time, I'd like to call forward each MBA degree recipient to receive his/her masterhood. As I call your name, please step forward, and the Chair of the Board of Overseers, Christopher Williams, will drape the hood over your shoulders. And to the audience, there is no need to hold your applause until the end. Please feel free to applaud early, loudly, and often. Omar Mustafa Abdul Samad. Robert G. Thielen III. Vincent Accurso. Nell Ackmeyer. Siddhartha Agarwal. Fidelis Agbor. Enrique Aguilar Fernandez. Michael Robert Alemany. Victor Alquicira. Ryan Anthony Amico. Martins Anani. Christian Anderson. Mark R. Andrews. Anchal Aneja. Anthony Anyansi. Yosuke Oyama. Carolina Ardila Zurich. Justin Barrett. David Bass. Yes. Asi Borjanui. Fernando Biel Garcia. Justin Boren. Andrew Bralwer. Cesar Breder Chavez. Alex Gerald Brewer. Thomas Joseph Brown. Kathleen Carmody. Juan Carrasco Guerrero. Rafael Sarkira Geronimo. Vivek Chandwani. Miriam Woodall Chen. Wei Ting Chen. Zita Chen. Anthony Mark CPL Jr. Heather McNern Clark. Jeffrey Lawrence Clark. Hannah Kennedy Cohen with distinction. William Lanham Twentyman Collins with high distinction. Renato Cordero Varela. Catherine Coster. Amy Elizabeth Craig. Jacob Mark Crandall with highest distinction. Javier Crashel Deloyo. Brian Crow. Alicia True Dagrosa with distinction. Robin Abraham Daly with distinction. Nicole Marie Danielle. Amrita Dasgupta. Sharon Colleen Dawson. Kaya Davis. Caroline DeFay. Elizabeth Sutton Dykeman. Madeline L. Delgado. Douglas Gregory DeMartin. Alice Brisset DeMurley. Jennifer DeRosier. Vikram Singh Dinsa. Rajivaksha Dodda Ballapur. Chelsea Jean Dodds. Patrick Bar Dolan. Andrew Dunn. Parthi Duraisamy. William Egbier with distinction. Jonathan Harry Elkin. Remy Lynn Evans. Camila Faliros Gonzalez. Cooper Fallick. Chago Fauch. Alice Feng. Ricardo Ferrari. Mariana Ferrecio. Eric M. Figoli. Sean Thomas Flood with distinction. Whitney Claire Finn. Christopher Foley with high distinction. Kevin Mark Friedenberg. Joshua Kasoy Furman. Claire Christine Galliot. Michael R. Gallagher. And my partner, Danielle Garver. Eric Daniel Giles. James Goff. Eliana Gomez. Kathleen Ryan Granfield Graham. Robert Edward Lee Greer. Prachi M. Gujarati. Dhruv Gupta. Raghav Gupta. Kyle Hawks. Yes. Nicholas Hall. Edward Harding. James Michael Herrig. Stephen Lloyd Harrington. Nikhil Harsh. Sarah B. Hayes. Mang Jo Hua. Stephen Henderson. Jasmine Herrera. Alison Hyler with high distinction. Michael A. Hill. Molly Jordan Hinton. Christopher Hogan. Morgan J. Hall. Justin Holsworth. Yue Hu. Hadi Huang. João Paulo Huffenbacher Nacarado. Sishao Hua. Juan Camilo Iriarte Ortiz. Stephen Janko. Alexander Royce Jenny. Katrina Lee Jensen. Celine E. Jang. Elizabeth E. Jin. Kiran Jinsi. Alessandra Gabriela Jocham. Eric R. Johnson. Jordan B. Joseph. Eliav Kahan. Dmitry Kaliganov. Preeti Kantir. Chuku Ameka Kanu. Mayur Kasati. Takuya Katsura. Shailaja Kaveti. Alexandra Grace Kenyon. Chun Ting Kha. Jacob D. Kidder. Kevin Min Pio Kim. Alexander Thomas King. Adam Thomas Claney. Alyssa Kopp. Ilya Kravchuk. Alexander C. Kramer. Karthik Krishnan. Raphael Kroger. Neil Kulkarni. Catherine Landry. Dat Lee. Ying Lee. Amy Catherine Licoret. Daniel E. Linji. Stephanie Y. Liu. Julia Elizabeth Lynch. Catherine Phillips Lynch. Enrique Liraber. Alexandra Ariel Maki. Kelsey McEachran with high distinction. Tom Mann. Jonathan Marlapudi. Bernhard Johannes Marschitz with high distinction. Thomas Albert Martin IV. Felipe Martins Stefani. John Harter Matthias III. Peter Anderson Matthias. Shana J. McClammy. Whitney H. McClung. Matthew John McGrath. Sarah McGuigan. Gillian McWicker. Alan Mendazara Uju. Hilary Mojeska. Rebecca Moore. Yes. Keith Moranci. Kevin Moyer. Vishwaroop Mukherjee. Molly Neighbor. Anushka Nadaraja. Sid Prasad. Edward Walter Newhouse. Ashton Gwena. Stephen D. Normandin. Christopher Reed O'Brien. Edward William O'Neill. Pilar Olaechea. Ayobami Olufadeji. Medha Pant. Mark Parton. Ankur Patel. Hari Patnaikuni. Byron Peister. Nicolo Piombanti. Fernando Bluebeans Snyder. Jared S. Pomerantz with high distinction. Ellen Pratt. Keith Pridgeon. Emily Louise Pudzi. Brian J. Pfeiffer. Jasmine Faye Q. Mithun Sundar Raj. Sintha Rajasingham. Caitlin Janine Ramirez. Mark Rotiola. Patrick Regan. Jeremy Paul Reich with high distinction. Nori Wright with distinction. J. Sebastian Restrepo. Charles Richard. Francisco Riederer. Megan Robinson. Daniel P. Rosen. Apurv Sacheti. Sergio Safi Marquez. Rohan Saharia. D. Anthony Sampson. Matthew Ryan Shrimper. Pedro Enrique Sebastian Payola. Brian Silaji with distinction. Aviran Sethi. Matthew 7. Aditya Shah. Ashish Sharma. Sumant Shande. Nathan L. Shippy III. Matthew Sharpness. Benjamin Wyckoff Shore. William Silton. Amarendra Singh. Chavi Preet Singh. Sid Singh. Laura Elizabeth Singley. Brandon Bradley Smith. Katrina Mary Soja. Joel Saltman with distinction. Sneha Soni. Manuel Soto Montesinos. Shreya Srinivasan. David A. Stein. Andrew D. E. Stiff. Jeannie Soon. Jack Swain. Ryan Charles Swaggart. Brant Swidler. Michael Tarr with distinction. Francis Thunder. Jason Tinder. Anmol Tiwari. Ian P. Toner. Conrad Trimbath. Lauren Trombador. Patrick Turwan. Andres Valdiviso Arispe. Juliana Vitrano. Kemper Wagner. Ki Wang. Bradley J. Webb. Matthew Michael Wheeler with distinction. Marcus Weidel. Dismas Vidita. Warren Williamson. Robert Devers Wilson. Kylie Jean Winsness. Sarah Claire Wooden. Shanshan Wu. Max W. Wunderlich. Wei Xing. Adam Yang. K. S. Dominic Yao with distinction. Hongji Yuan. Chun Zhang. Jinyao Isabella Zhang. Yahweh Zhang. Zhang Zhang. Fan Zhou. Emily Zhou. Frank Zhu. Diego Suazo.
Got it?
Do you want an umbrella?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm a little wet. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of Tuck's Board of Overseers, Christopher Williams. Chris is chairman, CEO, and founder of the Williams Capital Group and Williams Capital Management. For many years, Thompson Financial and others have consistently ranked Williams Capital among the most active underwriters of publicly traded equity and investment grade and corporate debt offerings. Before founding Williams Capital in 1994, Chris held a number of senior roles at Lehman Brothers and Jefferies & Company. Chris currently serves on the board of directors for Caesars Entertainment Corporation, Cox Enterprises, the Clorox Company, and the Lincoln Center for Performing Arts. In 1984, graduate of the Tuck School. He also holds a Bachelor of Architecture from Howard University. Chris Williams. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of you. I understand that weather like this means that success will rain down and soak your life and career. So good luck to you. It's great. Again, I'm pleased to present the Overseer's Medal, and I'll begin by providing a story. At the end of his winter term at Tuck, Jeremiah Palmer, Tuck 08, then a first-year student, was diagnosed with leukemia. He did not know what the future held as he lay in his hospital bed at the Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center. But he knew he would not be confronting it alone. Through it all, Jeremiah had someone by his side, helping him through the most difficult time in his life. This person visited him daily, offering small gifts and words of encouragement. After he went into remission, she helped him move forward and successfully complete his MBA education at Tuck. Tuck is a special place because of people like Sally Yeager, says Jeremiah. As I can see you all agree, he went on to say, she is the embodiment of what Tuck stands for. Sally Yeager, Assistant Dean and Director of the MBA program, is a strong, generous, and compassionate leader who sees her role at Tuck as far more than just a position. She sees it as an opportunity to transform lives. She pushes students to be the best version of themselves, both professionally and personally. She's the first person they meet at Tuck when they arrive and the last person that they say goodbye to when they leave. A visit to Sally's office isn't a burden. It's a welcome and often anticipated event for students and faculty alike. Sally listens. She offers advice. She is empathetic yet unafraid to challenge when the situation calls for it. When 5 p.m. hits, many of us go home and leave behind the demands of our daily jobs. Sally does not. Tuck is in her DNA. Sometimes that means answering a call at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. from a student who just lost a relative. Other times that means driving a student to the hospital when their partner calls to say that she's in labor. She handles all these things the same way as she does every other difficult matter that she is confronted with daily, quietly and with a smile. When she is seen or not seen, or whether she is seen or not seen, Sally is always there. She's always doing her best to ensure the student experience at Tuck is a positive and transformative one. But you would hardly know it given her humble and unassuming nature. No one has demonstrated greater commitment to the care and well-being of Tuck and its students than Sally. She came to us 22 years ago, where as Director of Admissions, she helped manage the evaluation process for more than 22,000 applicants for the MBA program. During her 9 years as director, Tuck saw its percentage of international students grow from 15% to greater than 30%. But it's in her current role where Sally has perhaps had the greatest impact, having counseled thousands of students on matters ranging from academics to personal lives to clubs and activities. Sally has served on the boards of the Fort Foundation, the Consortium for Graduate Study and Management, the Moscoma Valley Health Initiative, and was a member of the planning board in her hometown. Outside of Tuck, she somehow finds time to enjoy the things she loves most: running and hiking, playing with her 2 beloved yellow labs, Sam and Maisie, on her 35 acres of land in Orange, New Hampshire, and unplugging every summer at a small camp in Charleston, Ontario, with her husband Dick, the former admissions and athletic director at Dartmouth College. As the heart and soul of Tuck, Sally is deserving of the highest possible recognition. From Edgar Pastrana, Tuck 11, Director of Global Initiatives at Starwood Hotels and Resorts. Knowing Sally has made me a better person. Her very being is a model for how to carry oneself professionally and personally. If I achieve even a fraction of the impact that she has on others, then I will consider myself wildly successful. From Dean Slaughter, I would be hard-pressed to think of another member of the Tuck community who is led by example in a way that demonstrates the spirit of creating an inclusive community that inspires people to be their better selves. He goes on to say, for me personally, I have had the pleasure of learning from and working with Sally for nearly a decade. I continue to learn from and be inspired by what she does. There is never an issue or a person too unimportant for Sally. The empathetic wisdom she brings to the Tuck community is remarkable. From Crystal Williams, Tuck 03, Juris Doctor candidate, University of Maine Law School, there are a few people who so uniquely embody the Tuck spirit of community. Sally is one of them. Sally's gift lies in identifying the diamond in the rough, the non-traditional talent that is equally capable of excellence, but has been focused on non-traditional areas. From David Pike, Professor of Operations and Supply Management at University of San Diego Business School, Sally has personally given me a vision for what a leadership team at a business school can do with real excellence. She has set a standard that's off the charts. She does an amazing job at exhibiting love and service for the students, but in a rigorous and professional way that is the perfect blend. So, in recognition of her unfaltering dedication to the betterment of Tuck and the success of students through mentoring, counseling, and leading, the Tuck Business School Board of Overseers says pleased, but we're thrilled to honor Sally O. Yeager with the Overseers Medal for 2016. She got all dressed up for the occasion.
Edward Tuck Scholars are those students who have demonstrated outstanding academic accomplishment during their 2 years at Tuck. Scholars are designated by the faculty at the end of the second year. I now will read the names of the Tuck Scholars and ask that they come forward to receive their certificates and be recognized. Please hold your applause until the names of all Tuck Scholars have been read. Recipients, after receiving your certificate, please line up in front of the lectern for a photograph. The Edward Tuck Scholars for 2016 are, with highest distinction, Jacob Mark Crandall. High distinction, William Lanham Twentyman Collins. Christopher Foley, Alison Heiler, Kelsey McEachran, Bernhard Johannes Marschitz, Jared S. Pomerantz, Jeremy Paul Reich. And with distinction, Hannah Kennedy Cohen, Alicia True DeGrossa, Robin Abraham Daly, William Egbier, Sean Thomas Flood, Nori Wright, Brian Silaji, Joel Saltman, Michael Tarr, Matthew Michael Wheeler, K.S. Dominic Yao, and now Tuck Scholars, Sharon Colleen Dawson, Kevin Mark Friedenberg, Dhruv Gupta, Michael R. Gallagher, Claire Christine Galliot, Eric Daniel Giles, Robert Edward Lee Greer, Kyle Hawks, Edward Harding, Stephen Lloyd Harrington, Morgan J. Hall, Katrina Lee Jensen, Tom Mann, Christopher Reed O'Brien, Ayobami Olufadeji, Patrick Regan, Sergio Safi Marcus, Pedro Enrique Sebastian Payola, Katrina Mary Soja, Chavi Preet Singh, Ian P. Toner, Patrick Turnwan, Robert Devers Wilson, Fan Zhou. At this time, we award prizes honoring those graduates who have distinguished themselves through excellence in the classroom and service to the Tuck community. The Herman Fellman 1929 Memorial Prize. This prize is awarded to a member of the second-year class who has done excellent work in his program as a whole and who has displayed interest in the field of leadership. The recipient of the Fellman Prize is Danielle Garver. The James A. and Sabra M. Hamilton Award in Administration. This prize is awarded to that member of the second-year class who, through personal qualifications and accomplishments in courses in the fields of business policy and organizational behavior, shows the greatest attributes of a capable administrator. The recipient of the Hamilton Award is Mark R. Andrews. The Lieutenant Walter A. Jacobs Memorial Award. This prize is awarded to a student who during their first year has demonstrated intellectual ability and curiosity, sound judgment in academic work and activities outside the classroom, and personal habits and conduct which inspire confidence and enthusiasm. The recipient of the Jacobs Award is Hannah Kennedy Cohen. The Charles I. Leibowitz Memorial Award. This prize is awarded to a second-year student who has, during the first year at Tuck, made an outstanding contribution to the daily life of the school. The recipient of the Leibowitz Award is Whitney Claire Flynn. The Lillian and Charles Leach Prize for Excellence in Finance. This prize is awarded to a graduating student who has shown excellence in the academic area of finance. The recipient of the Leach Award is Bernhard Johannes Marschitz. The Dero Saunders Award. This prize is awarded to a graduating student who, through both personal qualities and accomplishments in management communication courses, demonstrates outstanding ability to communicate effectively as a manager. The recipient of the Saunders Award is Kelsey McCuckrin. The Tuck Centennial Student Award. This award is given to a first-year and a second-year student who exemplify the spirit and character of the Tuck School. Chosen by their classmates, recipients embody outstanding leadership, selflessness in everyday actions, extensive involvement in the Tuck and Upper Valley communities, and a firm commitment to the traditions and principles of the school. The second-year recipient of the Centennial Award is Eric Daniel Giles. The Julia Stell Award. This prize is awarded to those students who have made a substantial contribution to the Tuck community through their leadership in school programs and functions and for their extraordinary efforts to help fellow students, especially in scholastic efforts. This prestigious award is named for the wife of Edward Tuck and co-founder of the Tuck School, Julia Stell. Please hold your applause until all the recipients' names are called. Recipients should please line up for a photograph. The recipients of the Julia Stell Award are Omar Mustafa Abdul Samad, Jennifer Derosier, Remy Lynn Evans, Whitney Claire Flynn, Danielle Garver, Eric Daniel Giles. There's one more page. Kyle Hawks, Sarah B. Hayes, Justin Holsworth, Katrina Lee Jensen, Dmitry Kaliganov, Neil Kulkarni, Kevin Moyer, Molly Neighbor, Aditya Shah, Aviran Sethi, Lauren Trombador, Robert G. Thielen III, Juliana Vitrano, Robert Devers Wilson. Got stuck in the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the recipients of our awards. I'm now pleased to introduce the 2016 class president, Omar Abdelsamad. As president, Omar has served as chair of the student board, liaison to the administration, and representative to the nearly 600 first and second year students at the Tuck School. Omar holds a bachelor's degree in economics and Near Eastern languages and civilization from Harvard University. Prior to Tuck, Omar worked in pharmacy strategy at CVS Health, and he spent his Tuck internship summer as a product manager at Amazon. After graduation, Omar will be based in Seoul, South Korea, as a global strategist in Global Strategy Group of Samsung. Omar.
Hi, guys. So I actually declined the plastic wrap for my speech. So as the paper declines, so will the speech. I had a joke about a warm June day, which you can ask me about later. So much like an effective PowerPoint slide, I have three main roles today. One is to give my final address to the class of 2016. Another is to give the class gift. And third is to introduce our fantastic student speaker. The obvious question when one completes a term of service is to ask yourself, how did we do? Did we do a good job? Are you saying we instead of I to distance yourself from what happened? Really, there are three groups. I've created a framework. There are three groups of people you can ask. You can ask the agent himself, the leader, his or her constituents, or an objective third party. The agent himself is never trustworthy. You see, the fallacy of leadership is that you fall into the same cliches, that you think you did a good job unless some obvious disaster has occurred, that you think people still like you, and Cooper, we cannot vote at this time. And number three, that you think your successor can never fill your shoes, no matter how long those shoes roam the halls of Congress. So I am no different. You can ask me. I know that the line between a brilliant and a delusional leader is razor thin, and the leader never quite knows on what side of the line he or she falls. If you can't ask yourself, then you can always ask the people. They always have a lot of opinions. If you ask my roommates what my most spoken aphorism for leadership is, they would say, you've got to give the people what they want. But I would ask myself, what if the people don't know what they want? What if what they want is painful in the short term and beneficial in the long term? What if you're trying to sell NAFTA to a group of manufacturing employees? They won't ask for it, and they won't thank you once you've given it to them. Still, there's one last group you can ask. Are we having fun yet? There's one last group you can ask, and that's an objective third party. This being graduation weekend, you can always ask your mother. Until my mother passed away 6 years ago, that's what I always did. Mothers are great. They always tell you you're right. They always tell you you're wonderful. And if you mess up, it's always somebody else's fault. Mine was no different, and I miss her ability to quickly put me at ease. Though I confess she may not have always been objective, she would have loved to be here and surely would have told me how perfect my speech was. So none of these forms of external validation are perfect, so I'm forced to design my own form. One that is more forgiving is to ask yourself, did you leave the organization in a better state than when you found it? And did you do so in a proactive, transparent, and accountable manner? Tuck is a difficult place to change. Its 116-year history and status as a school of higher learning bring with it a substantial amount of inertia. You feel the institution actually fights you as you seek to change it. Yet every year, a group of people sign up to do just that. They put aside academics, they put aside their careers, and they put aside other hobbies to contribute to the Tuck experience for their classmates. Those are the student board members. If you could all rise and be recognized. You've done an exceptional job over the past 2 years. Thank you, you can be seated. A popular refrain I often heard from an administrator is that Tuck students rent in the Upper Valley, while faculty and staff buy. Watching the class of 2016, I never quite felt that that was true. When Julius Caesar triumphed in the Battle of Zala, he said, "Vini, vidi, vici." I came, I saw, I conquered. He did not say, "I came, I saw, but I declined to conquer, given that I was only there for a short period of time." A true test of leadership is your willingness to work to improve an organization, regardless of your role, regardless of your implicit or explicit power, and regardless of your responsibility to that organization. The class of 2016 are admirable for taking that sort of ownership. The examples are too numerous to note, but here are a few. There were Remy and Jay creating Tuck Talks. There was Nikhil's concerted push for me to introduce transparency into my leadership. There was Juliana's constant push to right wrongs, even on unpopular issues, that made a big, big difference. There's Frances putting together a program for students with non-traditional backgrounds because she found the current one lacking. And there was the steady stream of individuals who headed to the MBA program office when something in class wasn't quite right. And as we enter a world of business where so much is not right, women earning unequal pay for equal work, minorities facing biases in selection, promotion, and pay, and U.S. income inequality at its highest level in a century in the U.S., while corporate profits continue to accumulate. What we need so desperately in business is those willing to take ownership and to say something. And that's the end of that. Really, it's too bad. That's why, oh wait, we're good. Entering this environment, what I want beside me so desperately is individuals who, regardless of their position or power, will have the capacity to say something. If this year is any indication, this trait defines each and every one of you. And so when I look back on this year, did we do a good job? Who knows? That's for each and every one of you to determine. But did we take ownership and work to improve Tuck, regardless of whether it was our job, regardless of whether it was convenient, and regardless of whether it was difficult to achieve? That answer is clear. Through your energy, your activism, and your lack of complacency, the class of 2016 has left a series of indelible marks on the school. The institution is truly better for having had each and every one of you here, and I guarantee you that Tuck will never be the same. That's why it gives me so much confidence to graduate alongside the class of 2016, not because I have some objective vision or framework for right or wrong, but because I could actually see your impact. I expect this impact will continue with your careers. That's why it has truly been an honor to be in this role and truly been an honor to be able to call myself the president of the class of 2016. Thank you. My second responsibility is to present the class gift. The class of 2016 gift is given to improve and expand the Tuck Gym, serving to build on a place so many of us benefited from, and a message to future generations to, hey, get out there and exercise. I'd like to thank Margaret Donahue from Tuck Alumni Giving and all the class gift committees who worked so hard on this campaign. If you could all rise and be recognized. With 98.6% participation and $31,773 given, I'm pleased to announce that the class of 2016 has given Tuck's largest class gift in history. Thank you for your generosity and involvement. Truly something to be proud of. Now, Dean Slaughter, we had a t-shirt for you. I think they determined it would get too soggy. We were both selected for our leadership positions at the same time last spring, and I like to think we've always had a co-mentorship relationship. As the son of a longtime business school administrator, I'm familiar with the unique challenges of leadership in an academic institution. Working with you over these past few months has given me great hope for the future of this institution. On behalf of the class of 2016, we give Tuck's largest class gift to you, not simply to expand the gym, but as a symbol of our confidence in your leadership and encouragement to grow and expand Tuck in a manner true to its history. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Rob. Rob Thielen is not only an incredible individual, but also Tuck's most positive student. There are conflicting reports of when Rob first became interested in business. He'll tell you it was his parents' small business, while his parents will tell you it was not till much later. He actually wanted to be a lawyer or a politician growing up. We've switched our roles. Something you may not know about Rob is that between the ages of 6 and 7, he spoke with an English accent. That is not germane to his introduction, but I just had to share that. Rob loves to learn and has his bachelor's from the University of Wisconsin, a master's from the University of Oklahoma, and is rounding third base with an MBA from Tuck today. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force, and upon prodding, admitted that he completed his service as captain. He interned over the summer at Google. Declining to return, he is planning on moving to North Carolina with his wife, Sarah, where she is pursuing a master's in public policy. At Duke, not North Carolina. Oh, no. Sarah notes that one of Rob's secret skills is having the ability to pack for a full weekend in 30 seconds, while she further notes that he still lacks the ability to pick up his socks around the house on a day-to-day basis. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce to you Rob Thielen.
Invited guests, faculty, staff, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, the class of 2016, welcome. Thank you, Omar, for that introduction. That was very nice. Uh, it is an overwhelming privilege to be standing here today. I know that I am not the most traditional choice to be standing here. I am not going into consulting or finance. I still don't know what that is. I will bring down the median salary for Tuck hires. That's a given. I will be living in North Carolina, not Boston, New York, or San Francisco. And most disturbingly, I got an LP in Mancom. My PowerPoint skills were lacking, and I did not and will not use Hopti. Never. I won't do it. I don't do things traditionally, mostly because I don't know how to. I came to Tuck from the Air Force with zero knowledge of the private sector, very little understanding of econ or stats, or how to use Excel for anything other than keeping lists. This will not be a traditional speech. Hell, it's not even a speech. It is a journey and a thought experiment. One that we started writing 2 years ago together. So let's have some fun. Before we get too far, I want everyone to close your eyes and think about your favorite Tuck memories. Over the past 2 years, what were those things that stuck out? Visualize it. Who was there? What were you doing? What were you feeling? If there was more than one memory, what did it have in common?
Some of my favorite Tuck memories happen about an hour away from here at Killington Mountain. Whether it be looking out at the beautiful snow-capped mountains of Vermont, contrasted with the dark green evergreens, or listening in on awesome conversations with friends on the ride up, Killington was always a great way to end the week. For this kid from Atlanta, skiing at all, let alone on a weekly basis, was a pretty foreign concept, but it was an excellent way to spend 2 years in the woods.
My favorite memory of Tuck happened at Radar Hall, the Diwali concert that we celebrate every year with the Indians. I had to learn how to dance, the lungi dance, with about 10 other guys that probably never knew what lungi was. And then Brand Swidler allowed me swing him across the platform. What a brave man. That was my greatest memory of Tuck.
My greatest memory at Tuck actually happened thousands of miles away in my own home in Bombay, India. I was doing the India Fun Trek. All of you who came, you were amazing. This guy right here, your speaker for the day, ripped his pants while trying to simulate an Indian martial arts move in front of my entire family. I'm never going to forget that. That was an amazing experience.
In my memory, studying abroad in India alone with my 2 boys, and them copying how I responded to beggars, how I handled stress, and realizing, aha, this is the challenge of general management. Always trying to be a good example.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about what I learned here at Tuck. Of course, I learned about Porter's 5 forces, disruptive innovation, and how to use Excel like a normal person. But the real lessons here at Tuck were the ones that you can only find through 2 years of introspection. Of all these frameworks, lessons, and theories about how we see and interact with the world, the most important one was the simplest one we learned. What is important is measured, and the reverse, what is measured becomes important. Many organizations use metrics, but most don't measure the right thing. This simple lesson, reiterated by Professor Trimble, Professor King, Professor BG, and of course Governor Lynch, really sank in. And it made me think about what we measure here at Tuck. If you measure the right things, you get the results you are looking for. And if you measure the wrong things, you will get adverse results. It seems that here at Tuck and in the real world, there are only a few things that are properly measured: salary and the pedigree of the company that we work for. Our rankings as a school depend upon salary and employment figures. The CDO tracks the figures, the world tracks the metrics, and we assume that they are important. Think about those memories again. What defined them? What were those core nuggets that drove you? What made you happy while you were here? Tuck is a great 2-year experiment to truly see who you are. There's no constraints on your time or on your attention. If your favorite memory is going to Costa Rica with 60 of your best friends, that is important. If your favorite memory was a family vacation up to the Upper Kingdom, Northern Kingdom, that is telling. If your favorite memory was listening to Governor Lynch talk to us about who defines quality, then take notes. You could not get fired from Tuck. You could not get a promotion, and the grades were the equivalent of dinosaur stickers versus smiley faces. You decided what you did to maximize your utility. You did what drove you. You followed your passions. There is no reason that these memories cannot be built upon. And we can get there by measuring what is important. We are very good at measuring money. It is simple. It is easily counted. It's easily negotiated for some. It's simple. As SG20, my study group, fall study group, taught me, Tom and Tran tried to teach me, there's even a time value to money. $1 today is worth a little bit less than $1 tomorrow. But instead of time, still don't get it. What is finance, guys? But instead of the time value of money, let's discuss the value of time and how we use it. Instead of salary, measure your impact on those around you. As with any metric, you need to use a proper unit of measurements. You do not need to wake up every day and compare yourself to Nelson Mandela or Jimmy Carter, because if you do, the scale of your measure will be lacking. Instead of your impact on the world, measure your impact on individuals, your coworkers, your family, your friends, your community. Being in the Upper Valley gave us the ability to scale our worldview from the billions down to the few hundred. Think about all the cases you helped others with, the job prep, helping stupid redheads learn how to use Excel. And we're not talking about Jared. He knows how to use Excel. I'm talking about myself here. Helping that same redhead with this speech. Thank you, Jay. All of those conversations, coffee chats, and clubs that you helped run and make great. And with your family, you can even leave a larger lasting impact. Like yelling at that bully that put a worm down your back in the first grade, Dad. Or coming to my band concerts, Mom. Or helping me move across the country, brother. Or taking us on adventures, aunts and uncles. Or always being there, Grandma. You have an impact. A small amount of efforts on your part can have a huge influence on those that you help. Measure those small impacts that you make on people every day. They add up, and as your sphere of influence increases, as you move up through the companies and organizations that you work for, make sure that you continue to expand that sphere and help more and more and change the unit of measurements. Maybe a few here can impact the world, but impact those around you today. Again, don't underestimate your impacts. Will all the Tuck partners please stand if you're not already standing? I think most people are kind of chilling right now. All right. All the Tuck partners, wave your arms. To the Tuck partners. To the Tuck partners, you have made a huge sacrifice for your partner. Be it a long-distance relationship or moving up to the Upper Valley. You have been supporting us day in and day out. You either visited us on frosty weekends or put your careers on hold to join us on this crazy journey. You gave up 2 years to be here. Please understand how important you are to us and how much impact you had in our time here. Thank you. Instead of measuring career progression, measure your team's success. Be a just boss, supervisor, and teammates. Leadership is not about blindly building a house made out of blocks. It is about taking care of the people around you, measuring their success, not yours, and taking responsibility for their actions if it goes wrong, but giving credit when it goes right. Just like a good study group, SG20, SG40 in the house. Your group success is at least as important as your own. Remember that. Instead of salary, measure your time you spend with loved ones. Keep track of it. How many hours per night, how many minutes per day you spend with your friends, your family, or those closest to you. You set the number. You hold yourself accountable. And if you don't meet those numbers, just like a good CEO, you ask yourself why, and you make it work. Instead of salary, measure how often you call your parents and grandparents, something I'm awful at, sorry, Grandma and Mom. I lost my grandfather late last year, and I truly wish I could go back and call him a little bit more often. We will all lose our parents to time and our grandparents to time. We discount the future far too much. Don't forget to call home. Instead of salary, measure the vacations you go on. How many miles did you travel for fun and not for consulting? And how many new cities have you visited and enjoyed? Instead of salary, measure how challenged you are at work. Are you solving difficult puzzles? Do you like the work you are doing? Are you challenged? How many new projects do you work on a month? If your favorite Tuck memory was a case competition or RTP, make sure you're being stimulated in the same way. Think right now about your favorite Tuck academic memories. My favorite Tuck academic experiences revolved around simulations, reading pitch decks in Phil Furneaux's class, rocking our operations in Littlefield, second place in the school, Rob Wilson, well played. Cornering the California energy market and energy economics, depleting fish tanks with Professor King, or saving Matthews for a sustainability case competition we should have won, but we didn't. What are your favorite memories? Don't forget what drives you intellectually and measure it. Instead of salary, measure financial independence. I know that we are all going to be working very hard to pay off student loans. And this is important to you, and the financial aid exit interviews made it very clear it should be. Measure it, schedule it, and stick to it. When you are free of your obligations, understand that that metric is complete, add more weight to the other ones, and move on. Our salary is the instrument that we use for our goals, our passions, and our joys. Not the measure of our success, not the measure of our worth. When we start to measure what is truly important to us, decisions become easier and our lives become better. Early this year, I was offered a job at Amazon and at Google. Most would say, that's awesome, you gotta take it. Both of the jobs are on the West Coast, both with amazing companies, both conflicted with two of my most important metrics. Time with my beautiful wife and her career opportunities. Pooling our metrics and our goals made our decision to turn down these two companies and move to North Carolina an easy one. I look forward to spending the next 2 years in North Carolina and seeing how high Sarah can soar at Duke. We have around 18,000 days left on this planet minus 1 or 2. For you younger guys, you have a few more. For me, a few less. It might sound like a lot, but we cannot store time. We cannot save it for a rainy day. It is here one moment and gone the next. We will all be bankrupt in time in the end. The world wants us to focus on money because companies need our time and they want us to undervalue it. Time is fleeting. Make the most out of it. Having gone through these hollowed halls, we have been given the tools to not only take a full advantage of our time, but make others' time better. Impact is about making someone else's 18,000 days better. You are the smartest people I know. Do great things. Be a just leader. Have impact on others and measure what is important to you. You set your own numbers. You set your own goals. Hold yourself accountable and hold each other accountable. This thought experiment is almost over. But please, with the class of 2016, please stand up. One last time, look around. These are your final moments that we will all be together. Even the best alumni may or may not come at our 5, 10, and 15-year reunion, but for this moment, we are all together. Breathe in and breathe out, and fully appreciate the time that we have spent together. These past 700 days have meant the world to me. And the real question is, what are we going to do with the lessons we learned here, and how are we going to spend the next 18,000 days? Make them count. Thank you, and God bless.
Rob, thank you for that inspiring thought experiment. And at this time, to help close the ceremony, it is my pleasure to introduce Professor Colin Bladen, Tuck Dean Emeritus, who will read the Edward Tuck Letter. Please welcome Professor Bladen.
I get the waterproof version. From the letter of Mr. Edward Tuck to Dartmouth President William Jewett Tucker, his Dartmouth College roommate, on October 12, 1904. In the conduct of the school to which you have done my father's memory the honor of attaching his name, I trust that certain elementary but vital principles on which he greatly dwelt in his advice to young men, and today young women, whether entering upon a professional or business career, may not be lost sight of in the variety of technical subjects of which the regular curriculum is composed. Briefly, these principles or maxims are absolute devotion to the career that one selects and to the interests of one's superior officers or employers, the desire and determination to do more rather than less than one's required duties, perfect accuracy and promptness in all undertakings, and absence from one's vocabulary of the word forget. Never to vary a hair's breadth from the truth, or nor from the path of strictest honesty and honor, with perfect confidence in the wisdom of doing right as the surest means of achieving success. To that maxim that honesty is the best policy should be added another, that altruism is the highest and best form of egoism, as a principle of conduct to be followed by those who strive for success and happiness in public or business relations, as well as those of private life.
Thank you very much, Colin. This investiture ceremony will conclude with the recessional of the faculty and then the graduates, and I appreciate everyone's forbearance on this day. As we conclude this ceremony, I would like to invite you to join the class of 2016, the faculty of the Tuck School, and administrators and staff to a reception for our graduates in the covered Southwell courtyard, inside for refreshments, warmth, towels, and continued good cheer. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.